Have you ever read a prediction that felt uncannily accurate and then spent the whole day looking for signs that it was coming true? And have you ever met someone who ignored every forecast and still seemed to steer their life with a calm confidence that felt almost supernatural? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are walking into a topic that pulls people in for one simple reason. Everyone wants to know what is coming. Not just because we are curious, but because uncertainty makes the nervous system feel unsafe. When the future feels foggy, the mind starts bargaining. Tell me the map and I will relax. Tell me the outcome and I will stop worrying. That is the emotional engine behind astrology, fortune telling, and every system that claims it can reduce the unknown into something readable. But here is what we are going to do today. We are going to treat this topic with both openness and discernment. We are going to explore what astrology can and cannot do, why it feels so persuasive, and how Buddhist wisdom reframes the whole question. Not with mockery, not with blind belief, but with a deeper lens. The two main ideas I want to carry through this story are these. First, even if a system can describe tendencies, it cannot replace your responsibility for intention, action, and inner training. Second, the strongest form of prediction is not a chart. It is cause and effect within your own mind. Your habits predict your future more reliably than any external forecast. Let me tell you a story. Because stories let truth land in the heart instead of only the head. There was a young man named Armand who lived with a constant feeling that life was about to surprise him in a bad way. He looked normal on the outside. He studied, worked, laughed with friends, kept up appearances. But inside he carried a tightness, like he was always bracing for impact. When Armand was a child, his family went through a period of instability. Money was unpredictable. Adults argued. Promises were made and broken. Relatives came and went. The child mind learns quickly from this kind of environment. It learns that safety is fragile. It learns that good days can flip without warning. It learns that control is the only way to survive. And when a child grows into an adult, that lesson does not vanish. It simply changes costume. Armand became a planner. He planned everything. He planned finances, relationships, career, even the words he would say in conversations. And still he felt anxious, because no amount of planning can control the entire universe. So his mind searched for something that could. That is how he found astrology. At first it was harmless curiosity. He watched videos and read posts. He learned the language, houses, planets, aspects, transits. He began to feel like he had discovered a secret code. And the first time he heard a reader describe his personality with surprising accuracy, something clicked in him. It felt like being seen. It felt like a hidden truth had been revealed. Most importantly, it felt like control. Soon Armand was checking predictions the way some people check weather. Should I make this decision now or wait? Is this person good for me? Will I get the job? Will I move? Will my health improve? Will my relationship last? At first it calmed him. Then it started to hook him. Because the mind does not stop at one reassurance. It develops tolerance. It needs more certainty. It needs more checking. It needs more confirmation. And soon Armand was not using astrology as a tool. He was using it as a regulator for his nervous system. Without a forecast, he felt exposed. With a forecast, he felt temporarily safe. One day a prediction appeared that shook him. It said a difficult period was coming. Conflict, loss, obstacles. It was not specific, but it did not need to be. The human mind can turn vague threat into detailed fear in seconds. Armand read it and felt his stomach drop. And then the real problem began. He started interpreting everything through that lens. A friend did not reply quickly. Armand thought, here it is. The conflict is starting. His boss looked tired in a meeting. Armand thought, here it is. The obstacle is coming. He felt a headache. Armand thought, Here it is. The health trouble. His mind became a prediction machine. Weeks passed. Nothing dramatic happened. But Arman was exhausted. He realized something confusing. The prediction did not cause external disaster, but it did cause internal disaster. It made his mind tense. It made his sleep worse. It made his relationship strain because he kept seeking reassurance. It made him irritable. It made him fragile. He started to wonder if the real curse was not fate, but fixation. Around that time, Arman met an older woman named Leela at a bookstore. He was browsing a shelf about spirituality, half hoping to find a new technique that would finally stabilize him. Leela noticed the book in his hand and smiled gently. She asked him what he was looking for. Arman answered honestly, "I want to understand the future." Leela nodded. Then she asked a question that felt like a mirror. "Do you want to understand the future? Or do you want to stop being afraid of it?" Arman laughed awkwardly because it was too accurate. He said both. Leela said something that sounded simple but carried weight. "If you want the future, watch your mind. If you want freedom, train your mind." Arman asked her what she meant. Leela told him she practiced Buddhist meditation for many years. And she also grew up around people who believe deeply in astrology and ritual. She said there are ways of seeing that can be useful, but there are also ways of seeing that can become chains. The difference is whether the system increases clarity and compassion, or increases fear and dependency. Arman felt defensive. He said, "Are you saying astrology is fake?" Leela smiled. She said, "I am saying your suffering is real. And any system that increases your suffering needs to be questioned, even if it sometimes seems accurate." She invited him to a small meditation group. Arman expected incense and mysticism. Instead, he found a plain room, quiet chairs, and a teacher who spoke like a scientist of the inner world. The teacher was named Chiron. He did not start by attacking beliefs. He started by observing experience. Chiron said, "The mind wants certainty, but life offers conditions. Conditions change. So if your peace depends on certainty, your peace will always be hostage." That sentence hit Arman hard, because it described his whole life. Chiron continued. He said, "You can believe many things about the universe, but the most immediate truth you can test is this. When fear arises and you feed it, it grows. When fear arises and you meet it with awareness and compassion, it changes." This is not philosophy. This is direct cause and effect. Arman started practicing meditation. At first he struggled. His mind raced. He wanted results. He wanted the practice to guarantee safety the way predictions promised safety. But Chiron gently corrected him. Meditation is not a contract with life. It is training for reality. After several weeks, something began to shift. Arman noticed that anxiety was not a permanent identity. It was a wave. It rose, peaked, and fell. But only if he stopped chasing it. When he chased it, it stayed. When he fought it, it stayed. When he watched it, it softened. He began to understand something that would eventually change how he viewed astrology entirely. The future was not the only unknown. His own mind was unknown to him. He had spent years reading charts and prediction, but he had not spent years watching how thought created suffering. One evening after practice, Arman asked Chiron directly, "What do you think about astrology predicting the future?" Chiron did not dismiss it. He said, "If a system describes tendencies, it might sometimes align with pattern. Human life has rhythm, seasons in the body, seasons in society, cycles of opportunity and difficulty. But there are 3 dangers. The first danger is outsourcing agency. If you believe a chart is the author of your life, you will stop writing your life with intention. The second danger is feeding fear. Predictions can become self-fulfilling because your mind starts acting from the expectation, not from clarity. The third danger is forgetting karma. Not karma as punishment, but karma as the pattern of cause and effect created by intention. If you train anger, you will live inside anger. If you train compassion, you will live inside compassion. This is the most reliable prediction there is. Arman listened, but he was still attached to his old habit of checking forecasts. It was not intellectual attachment. It was emotional. It was soothing. It was like a security blanket. So Chiron gave him an experiment. For 30 days, do not check prediction. Instead, every morning, write down one intention you will practice, and every evening, reflect on what you actually practiced. Notice how your mind changes. Notice how your life changes. Arman agreed reluctantly. The first week was hard. He felt restless. He felt the itch to check. His mind tried to bargain. Just one quick look. Just to be prepared. But he held the line. And something surprising happened. Without constant prediction input, his mind became quieter. Not instantly, but gradually. The mental noise reduced. He also started noticing how many of his decisions were motivated by fear of future discomfort rather than love of present truth. He would avoid conversations because he imagined conflict. He would delay projects because he imagined failure. He would cling to relationships because he imagined loneliness. He would hoard money because he imagined catastrophe. His whole life was being shaped by imagined futures. Buddhist practice taught him to return to what was real. The breath, the body, the current step, the current word, the current choice. By the second week, Arman noticed another shift. When uncertainty arose, he no longer rushed to fill it with a story. He could sit with not knowing for a few seconds. That might sound small, but it is huge. The ability to tolerate not knowing is one of the strongest signs of inner freedom. By the third week, something deeper emerged. Arman began to see that his craving for prediction was not just about the future. It was about identity. If he could know what was coming, he could feel like a competent person. If he could not know, he felt weak. So the problem was not astrology itself. The problem was ego fear. Chiron taught him about non-attachment. Not detachment, not indifference. Non-attachment means you can engage with life without gripping. You can learn, plan, prepare, and still accept that reality will move. You stop demanding certainty as a condition for peace. Arman began practicing non-attachment in small ways. He would make a plan for the day, then intentionally allow one part of it to change without anger. He would try a new route home without needing efficiency. He would let a text reply come later without spiraling. He was training flexibility, and flexibility is a form of power. Now he risked the part of the story where Arman faced something that tested him more than any prediction. His mother called him one morning and said she needed to talk. Her voice sounded strained. Arman felt his chest tighten. The old Arman would have immediately checked an astrology forecast. What does this mean? Is this the bad period? Is this the loss? Is this the danger? But he had been practicing. He took a breath and said, "Tell me." His mother explained that she had a health issue that required treatment. Not an immediate crisis, but serious enough to change routines. Arman felt fear rise like a sudden wave. But he did something new. He stayed present. He listened. He asked practical questions. He offered support. He did not pretend to be fearless. He simply did not let fear turn him into chaos. After the call, he sat quietly and cried. Then he practiced loving kindness, something he once thought was too soft to matter. He offered wishes of safety and peace for his mother. He offered wishes for himself to be steady. He offered wishes for all families facing uncertainty. As he did this, he felt his heart widen. The fear did not vanish, but it stopped being lonely. That day taught him a truth that no forecast ever gave him. Life can bring difficult news at any time, but your response can be trained. Your mind can be trained. Your heart can be trained. That training is the real protection. Later, his mother treatment went well. Not perfect, but manageable. During those months, Arman became closer to her. He spent more time with family. He stopped wasting hours chasing certainty and started investing hours in present. One night, his mother told him something quietly. She said, "When I was young, I used to go to people who promised to tell me what would happen. It made me feel safer for a moment. But then I realized I missed the life that was happening while I was looking ahead." She smiled and said, "I am glad you are here now." Armand felt a deep warmth and also a deep regret. How much time had he spent not being here? This is where the Buddhist teaching about mindfulness becomes more than a relaxation tool. Mindfulness is the ability to live the life you actually have, not the life you are projecting. Now let us talk about the core question directly, in a way that feels grounded. Can astrology predict your future? If by predict you mean guarantee specific outcomes, that is not something you can rely on. Even people who strongly believe in astrology often disagree with each other about interpretations. Predictions can be broad enough to fit many situations. The human mind is also extremely good at finding patterns, confirming what it already believes, and remembering hits more than misses. But there is a more interesting question. Why do predictions feel accurate sometimes? Because your personality has patterns. Your environment has patterns. Your society has patterns. And when a description captures some of those patterns, you feel seen. That can be meaningful. But being seen is not the same as being bound. Buddhist wisdom offers a powerful refrain. Even if there are tendencies, you are not a prisoner of tendencies. You can shape your mind through practice. You can change your habits. You can refine your intention. And that changes the trajectory of your life. This is karma in its most practical sense. If you wake up every day feeding resentment, your future will contain more conflict, more bitterness, more loneliness, because people feel that energy in the mind amplifies it. If you wake up every day feeding greed, your future will contain more chasing, more dissatisfaction, because desire is never fully satisfied. If you wake up every day feeding compassion and patience, your future will contain more trust, more stable relationships, more inner peace, because the mind becomes a safer place to live. You do not need a chart to predict that. You can test it in your own week. This is why some Buddhist teachers say the best fortune telling is to look at your current mind. If your mind is agitated, your future experience will likely feel agitated even if external events are good. If your mind is steady, your future experience can remain steady, even when external events are hard. Nothing magical about that. It is simple cause and effect. Now, there is another layer that matters. People often use astrology to answer questions about destiny. Who am I meant to be? What is my path? What is my purpose? Buddhist wisdom answers purpose in a way that does not depend on external certainty. Your purpose is to awaken, not necessarily in some dramatic mystical sense, but in the practical sense of becoming less driven by ignorance, craving, and aversion, becoming more driven by wisdom, compassion, and clarity. Every day offers a chance to do that. When you live this way, the future becomes less threatening because you trust your capacity to meet it. Armand eventually returned to astrology in a different way. Not as an addiction, not as a controller, not as a guarantee. He treated it like poetry, sometimes meaningful, sometimes interesting, sometimes reflective, but not the driver of his choices. His driver became practice. He continued meditating. He continued training wise speech, which meant speaking truth without cruelty. He continued training generosity, which meant giving attention and care without needing applause. He continued training equanimity, which meant meeting praise and blame without losing his center. Over time, people around him noticed something. They said, "You seem calmer." What changed? Armand would smile and say something simple. "I stopped trying to predict life and started trying to understand my mind." That is the real secret. When you stop obsessing over the future, you gain a future that is shaped by clarity rather than fear. And even when the future brings difficulty, you meet it with a heart that is trained. That is inner power. That is transformation. Now I want to bring this home for you. Because you might be listening and thinking, I still want guidance. I still want to know what is coming. It is human to want that. But here is a question that can change your whole relationship with the unknown. What if the real goal is not to know what will happen, but to become the kind of person who can handle what happens? That goal is always available, and it does not require perfect information. It requires practice. You can begin today in one small way. Notice one moment when the mind reaches for certainty. Pause. Feel the breath. Ask, what is actually needed right now? Then do that. Maybe what is needed is a phone call. Maybe it is rest. Maybe it is honesty. Maybe it is patience. Maybe it is letting go of a story. This is how you build a future that cannot be stolen by predictions. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you have ever felt pulled into prediction, forecasts, or constant checking, share your experience in the comments. What did it give you and what did it take from you? And if you have found practices that help you face uncertainty with more calm, I would love to hear those too. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment to support this space and keep these long-form reflections coming. Until next time, remember this: the future is always unknown, but your next intention is always yours.